What's up, everybody? I hope everyone's having a great Monday. Today we're going to be doing something pretty interesting that I didn't do last year. I did it for the undrafted free agents, but for the regular free agents, I didn't really hit on this too much. This is going to be a free agent tracker where I cover every single move we have made so far this free agency. And I know a lot of people have not been able to keep in the loop. We're having a lot of stuff with this coronavirus stuff. People may be having to go figure things out at their jobs as to what exactly they're going to do during this stretch of maybe unemployment, maybe sitting at home working from home. So maybe a lot of you just have missed out on some potential information as far as the New Orleans Saints offseason moves, and we have a lot to talk about because the New Orleans Saints have made a lot of moves. And I'm going to be honest, I have completely loved what the New Orleans Saints have been doing this offseason. So, as you can see, if you've been paying attention, is that they've made a huge emphasis on keeping the team together and making sure we don't create any major holes where they don't need to be created by re-signing players or signing players to fill in positions of those that we simply cannot afford, i.e. signing Malcolm Jenkins for Von Bell. So we've done a great job of keeping the 2019 cast together for 2020, as well as adding some very notable free agent additions that really can push this team over the edge and take us to where we want to be as far as going to the Super Bowl. So I'd like to start off this undrafted free agent tracker from, the top to the bottom, really going over who we have re-signed, signed, or even let go in this current free agency period. The first player I have on here is JT Gray, who is a safety. We signed JT Gray to a one-year $750,000 deal. His 2019 regular season stats: he played 16 games, started 0 because he's a special teamer, had 17 tackles, 13 of which were all on his own. Notes: this special team specialist earned Pro Bowl honors in 2019 and was also a second team All-Pro, so definitely a really big name to bring back on that special team side of the ball. There's a reason the New Orleans Saints have one of the best special teams units in the NFL, if not the best special teams unit in the NFL. I don't know who could be better. JT Gray is one of the players that are key to having it, just like Justin Hardy is. The next player we have is Zach Wood, who is a long snapper. We signed him to a 4-year, $4.78 million deal. He played 16 games last season, and he is a very valuable member of the New Orleans Saints kicking and punting unit. Let's move on to some other positions as well. This one, we have David Onyemata. We re-signed David Onyemata, the defensive tackle, to a 3-year deal worth $27 million. I don't think I made a video on this, but I might have included it in the Drew Brees video I made. I'm pretty sure I did. In 2019, he started 15 games. He started 15 games, had 32 tackles, 22 which were solo, and 3 sacks. He's a reliable interior defensive lineman that gives team added depth and really is a huge, extremely good insurance policy if anyone goes down, and is actually a very quality starter if we do take that route and decide to put him in at defensive tackle permanently. Next player we have is probably the biggest domino to fall in all of this, is Drew Brees. We signed the quarterback to a 2-year, $50 million deal. His 2019 stats: 11 games, which he started 11, of course, a 74.3 completion percentage, 2,979 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. 27 touchdowns in 11 games? Come on, man. This dude is absolutely insane. Like I said, he missed 5 games due to a thumb surgery and turned 41 on January 15th, so he is getting older but still has a lot of fight in him. As you've seen, 27 touchdowns in 11 games with 2,979 passing yards is not easy to accomplish, especially at the age of 40 last year, coming off of a thumb injury. So, very great play by Drew Brees, and I think that he can extend it for another year or two, depending on what he wants to play. Next position we have, or player we have, is Andrus Peat, left guard, which is a 5-year, $57.5 million deal. Now, I really didn't look at the logistics of the situation when I first reacted to it as soon as it happened. I was a little bit upset because of the fact that we gave Andrus Peat a 5-year, $57.5 million deal, but this really showed me that the New Orleans Saints are all in it for now, and they want to win right now. They wanted to lock down Andrus Peat, so they didn't create an immediate need at left guard that they would have to use a draft pick on or sign someone of lesser quality than Andrus Peat to go there and fill in that spot. I know the New Orleans Saints were in a bidding war with Super Bowl winner Kansas City Chiefs, so there's obviously a huge want for Andrus Peat right there. He actually had a very big market, so it's nice to get him locked down. I don't exactly agree with the price point, but I think that the New Orleans Saints' hand was kind of dealt. They had their hand pulled, and they had to pull the trigger and give him the money that we gave him, locking him down for 5 years. He's a great character. He missed 6 games last season due to a forearm injury, so I'm not going to really bash him for having a bad season last year. I just hope that he returns to 2016-17 form and performs like an actual Pro Bowler. He did go to the Pro Bowl last year, but I'm not sure how deserving he was of it because he was definitely a reserve. Let's move on to the next player. Next player we have is Justin Hardy, who is a corner, a 1-year deal that I don't remember the contract details on. I apologize for that. But his 2019 regular season stats, he played 16 games, had 11 tackles, 10 of which were solo. He has been a key member of the team's special team unit for 3 seasons. We all know and love Justin Hardy. I'm not really going to go in depth on him. He is a special teams ace. Re-signing him just like JT Gray, a very big addition. We needed to keep Justin Hardy. So let's move on to the next player. DJ Swearinger, a safety. We actually re-signed DJ Swearinger, to my surprise, to a 1-year, $1.1 million deal, which is extremely cheap. 2019, he played 9 games, started 7 times, had 50 tackles and 3 pass deflections. He was a late season pickup who also played for Oakland and Arizona in 2019, so he bounced around quite a bit last year, didn't really get to get his feet settled and play an actual season with a team that valued him the way that he should be valued. I think this is a really big piece for depth. Of course, we now have DJ Swearinger, Malcolm Jenkins, Marcus Williams, and Saquon Hampton. It really just... He's a great depth piece, an intelligent leader, someone that can go and shout and get these young players going just like Malcolm Jenkins can. Very great insurance policy. I trust him quite a bit, so I am very happy with the DJ Swearinger re-signing. Now let's look at where things get really interesting and probably what you clicked on this video for. Those are the incoming free agents. So the first free agent we have that we signed was Malcolm Jenkins. We signed the safety to a 4-year, $32 million deal. It's 2019 regular season stats. He played 16 games, started 16, had 81 tackles, 63 solo, 8 pass deflections, 4 forced fumbles, and 2.5 sacks playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a well-regarded leader that is now returning to the team that drafted him back in the day. I do 100% believe that Malcolm Jenkins is a fantastic leader, and unlike a lot of people say, he still has that ability to go out there and play elite coverage. His coverage grades were amazing last year and the year before. He has always been an elite coverage safety, so it's going to be interesting to see him play on this New Orleans Saints team. I know what I said during the Malcolm Jenkins signing video about him probably starting in the slot. That was probably the dumbest take I've ever had. Everyone's wrong sometimes, and I really realized how stupid that was. I didn't quite do enough research on how he was used in Philadelphia over the recent years and how Chauncey Gardner-Johnson played fantastic in the slot. Like, I watched it, but I didn't exactly know the metrics. I know Chauncey Gardner-Johnson had more pass deflections or broken up passes than he had allowed first downs. So if he flourishes that much in the slot, it would be stupid to take him out of it. Look for Malcolm Jenkins to be our starting strong safety next year. A fantastic leader who still has amazing playing ability. Let's move on to the next player, which is Michael Burton, a fullback. We signed him to a 1-year deal. His 2019 regular season stats, he had played 10 games, had 2 starts, but had no rushing attempts or receptions for Washington. Now, I'm the first person to say that fullback lives matter, okay? Don't disregard fullbacks. They're extremely important, especially when they play for a team like the New Orleans Saints. If you know anything, and I'm not going to say if you know anything because this isn't really a known stat, but if you know, you know. The New Orleans Saints are top 4 in the league in fullback usage, so having someone to play fullback is extremely important, especially since Zach Lyon retired. So Michael Burton, who spent the last offseason and training camp with the New Orleans Saints, believe it or not, is a huge pickup because, like I said, we're top 4 in the NFL in fullback usage. Now, let's move on to the splash signing that the New Orleans Saints did that blew everybody away. Emmanuel Sanders, wide receiver on a 2-year, $16 million deal. The 2019 regular season stats read as follow: 16 games, 16 starts, 69 receptions, 869 yards, and 5 touchdowns for both Denver and San Francisco, playing with Joe Flacco. I know I said this in the Emmanuel Sanders video, but Joe Flacco and Jimmy Garoppolo. He was close to 1,000 yards with them. Oh, give him Drew Brees. I can't even tell you what that's going to look like. He hauled in 7 catches for 157 yards and threw a touchdown against the New Orleans Saints and caught a touchdown as well. He absolutely obliterated us. It's very nice to have him on our side. I'm not going to go too in-depth into him because I have made a separate video of me absolutely flipping out over him. So if you want to go watch that, go ahead. The next player we signed is Dietrich Nichols, who is actually, the contract is unknown as of now because we just signed him today, but he's a defensive back that led the XFL in interceptions last year. He had 3 interceptions in 5 games. He could very well be a camp body that really competes for not a starting job, but a roster spot on the New Orleans Saints roster. I genuinely wouldn't expect him to start. He could provide extremely valuable depth since I have seen multiple film clips of him playing both safety and corner during his time in college and possibly in the XFL as well. So he has that on his resume to get him really instated in our roster. I can't really comment much on Dietrich Nichols as a player because he played in the XFL last year. Don't know how well that will translate into the NFL. We haven't seen him with any NFL teams previously, so there's nothing really to go off of. All we really have to do is sit here and wait and see if that versatility can get him a roster spot for the New Orleans Saints. Now, the next player we have is defensive end Noah Spence, who I think the contract details are unknown as of now because, like I said, we just signed him. Noah Spence is also a camp body, in my opinion. I don't know if we're really going to get him through training camp and have him on our roster simply because of how hard he fell off since 2016. We had interest in him last year. 2016, he had a great season with the Buccaneers. 22 tackles, and 5.5 sacks. Then he had 1 sack, then no sacks. Then he went to the Redskins and had 1 sack last year. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do with Noah Spence. Clearly, Sean Payton and Dennis Allen see something in Noah Spence because we had interest in him last year. So going at him again, I mean, maybe he does make the roster. We really just have to wait and see. This is a dude that has a huge amount of potential, 6'2", 251. He's 26 years old, is extremely fast, can make extremely athletic plays. It just depends on if he can get put in the right system to succeed. But I'm telling you right now, if we do keep Noah Spence on the roster and he is a backup or a rotational player, he is a fantastic insurance policy because even though he only had 1 good season, he has proven that the ability is there. We just have to maximize his potential in our system. So that's really it for the free agent tracker. We don't have anything else to go over as of yet. I'll let you guys know when anything else happens. There's a lot to talk about. I'm sorry for rambling for 13 minutes, but I thought it would be interesting for you guys to be able to get a glimpse as to what's going on if you're unaware. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate the support over the last couple of weeks. Free agency has been absolutely insane, and I couldn't be happier to be here reporting it for you. Thank you guys so much, like I said, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.